Mr. LP Steven Sykes, host of Enliven Radio, part of Legacy Internet Radio. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves today. It's been a little bit warm today. It's been a little bit hot. I've been trying to stay cool. I hope you have been too. Today is June 10th, 2014, and we've been having a lot of fun today here at Legacy Internet Radio. And today is a very powerful and inspiring show, and I would love for all of you to have fun with me on it. First off, before I start the show, I'll offer up a prayer. Dear Lord, thank you very much for allowing us to gather today to help learn all the powerful lessons that you have bestowed upon us. Help share, enlighten each other, and help share words of wisdom so we can make each other and our friends, family, and loved ones be much better. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Now, sometimes, when we flip through the channels out there on TV, some of you out there happen to follow upon the Lifetime movie channel or Lifetime Network, Oxygen, the We Network, or crime and investigation channels, and you see all those shows that women go through some pretty interesting, tragic, and just devastating things. I used to joke sometimes you constantly see Meredith Baxter Burney, Shannon Doherty, Melissa Gilbert, a whole bunch of different people played all those roles, and it's like, come on, enough is enough. And I used to watch those shows sometimes with fellow women friends and family members, but as the saying goes, stuff gets real. And when they came out with the crime and investigation channel, I think it is, you'll see the shows. The lady married somebody who was a totally different person, or they snapped is a popular show amongst women. A lot of women love that show and all these different things. But today I have a young lady here who's lived this life. And you talk about walk that, don't speak about it, be about it. Well, unfortunately, this lady had the opportunity to be about it. It's something that obviously I know she wished she didn't have to, but it's a testimony. And it's a story that I want everybody to hear. And when I met this beautiful young lady, she was at an event here in town in Richmond. And she was not only there help supporting local town people and things like that, but she had an energy, she had positivity. Not only the fact that she's a beautiful woman, but she had all the grace of, like, I'm going to keep on going and do what I need to do in that fight. And that's something that you don't see often enough. Shared nationally and globally, and I wanted her to have the opportunity to share and tell her story. And I'm going to let this young lady introduce herself, and you can say the name for everybody.
Hello, I'm Maria Michelle.
Hello, Maria Michelle. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
And you enjoyed your day?
Now I'm a little frustrated right now.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did I do that?
No.
Okay.
You didn't do that.
Okay.
The police did that.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't anything. But before I jump in, how you doing, Mr. Sincere?
I'm good. What's going on with you?
I'm all right. Your weekend's good?
Man, look, we got 3 more days of school. That's all I'm focusing on. Trying to get these last couple of days and get these kids out of school.
Oh, man, you loved it, man. What you going to do this summer?
Summer school. I get a week off and be right back in school with them again.
No problem. But, I thank you for another positive, strong year of teachers and counselors and all that other stuff, and I thank you for your service.
Hey, somebody got to do it.
And today we have the lovely Miss Bless. It's been a while, but how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Oh, now that I'm over here looking to my right to have you here, I'm doing good.
Stop it.
No, what? I just want to say I'm just doing good. I appreciate it. I know I have to be on my best behavior.
I'm blushing. Yes, best behavior today. Thank you.
Now, do you enjoy the summer?
So far so good. I'm getting ready to go to St. Louis, Missouri in a few weeks, and then after St. Louis is Jamaica. So I'm kind of getting myself ready for this heat that I'm going to.
So you saving some money?
Well, I've already paid for everything, so it's all good.
Now, you know the rules when you travel, right?
What's that?
T-shirt. Like I wear.
Yeah, I take T-shirts with me on trips. I don't understand.
No, I'm sorry. You bring back T-shirts. a gift, something tangible.
Are you asking for me to bring something back for you? Because, you could give me some money and I'll bring you something back.
Well, I was hoping that, that you really enjoyed my time and you appreciate me and
you
love
owe
me.
me a lot of favors.
Okay,
Let's go on to the next subject.
Oh, okay.
You done dug yourself a hole early.
You're supposed to back me up, man. You're supposed to back me up.
I know.
He's smart.
I know what to do.
I'm going to remember that. So, Miss Lisa Marie, besides the trouble that I seem to be in.
Not Lisa Marie, honey.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not going to call her Miss Presley. Marie Michelle.
Pick your head up, Steve.
Marie Michelle, sorry.
God, you were getting ready to go somewhere else with that.
I'm just so very sorry. Please charge it to my head, not my heart. Marie Michelle, I'm sorry. I'm so glad. How did I do that? Please, everybody in Radio Land. Thank you, everybody who's listening on Legacy Internet Radio and also team. I'm like a computer team viewer.
I wasn't gonna.
I called myself. Thank you, everybody listening for LegacyInternetRadio.com and also MixLR.com and also the TuneIn application. So, young lady, where are you from?
A little bit of everywhere, but I've been in Virginia since I was about 15.
Since you were 15?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you've always been in the Richmond general area or just around?
Pretty much.
Okay. How did you like it growing up here?
Not particularly, but I guess I've had an unusually bad life, so this is not a good place for me to be because it's kind of like living the book over and over.
I understand. A lot of people that lives in Richmond says similar things. I'm not saying people. Don't shake your head out here. So, you've been here. You went to school here. And went to college, or did you go to college here?
No, I didn't go to college.
Okay. No problem. So after high school, you stuck around, and we're honored to have you. You worked and...
No. My mom sold me to my husband, who was a Hells Angels when I was 17.
Okay. Yeah.
Should we go ahead and let her start telling her story?
Sure. I was trying to be nice. Thank you. I was trying to be nice and ease into it. But, young lady, please, from there, tell us how it was with your family, and I'll let you run from there.
Well, my mom was not even high school educated, so she was a stripper and a prostitute, and we was drugged from home to home and man to man and place to place, and abuse ensues in those kinds of environments: sexual abuse, physical abuse. My mom got married when I was a teenager, and we lived right behind the Walmart on Midlothian. And my stepdad and my stepbrother were extremely violent. So,
how many siblings did you have?
I have 3 biological siblings, and at that time I had one stepbrother living with me.
Okay.
So back when they just built the Walmart and I had just graduated after 3 years of high school, he beat me nearly to death. And I walked out into the Walmart parking lot and nobody would help me. Nobody would stop. I had blood on my clothes. I had leaves in my hair. My clothes was ripped.
Just the Walmart before the 288.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But not the one on... I'm sorry. You said Midlothian, not the one on Midlothian Turnpike. There's the one on Hall Street. So they're both Midlothian, so I didn't know which one.
It's the one off of Midlothian, back when it was first built.
Okay, so that one. Okay.
Before the shopping center was built up, there used to be 2 houses back there in the woods.
Okay.
And I had escaped from him after a severe beating. And that's, I guess, part of how everything got entangled, and I didn't want to be in that environment. Obviously, you don't want your dad and your stepdad brother beating the hell out of you. So then I sold costumes with my mom at Paper Moon, the strip clubs and stuff like that. I had been doing that since I was like 14.
What kind of impression did that leave on you?
I guess realistically, people have to survive. For me, I analyzed the situation, how people got there, why they were there, why they made the choices they made. And that's, environments like that is part of the reason that I have started the nonprofit We Are People for People United, because I believe that if people are given options and they have hope and they can earn something more than minimum wage and learn how to manage their money, save their money, and move towards a higher education, that you could overcome some of those obstacles that lead to men and women selling drugs, doing illegal activities to survive. I have no qualms against it. I understand how you get there.
But you understand where everybody's, the different stories and why they got there.
Yeah.
So you come out the parking lot bleeding. No one will bother to help you.
Nope.
And that's obviously tormenting, obviously emotionally and mentally. It's like you see a woman hurting. Why don't somebody help? What did you do? Did you go back?
Well, I got to the actual Walmart, and there they called the police, and from there, my mom, he was arrested, and then my mom took me to a hotel on Midlothian, but she went a back way, and then subjected me to that all over again, because I used to live in Richmond with my grandma, and so I happened to run into somebody that I knew and wanted to vent about my situation. And when I came back to the hotel, there was my stepbrother who had just nearly beat me to death.
Oh, no.
I now understand that my mom is a sociopath. I did not know that until recently. I said she was mentally ill in some way, that she was incapable of being sorry or apologetic, and that she believed her lies or her excuses for her behavior. But I never understood why or what kind of crazy. And recently in counseling, because I'm in counseling because of my current situation, it was expressed to me that my mom was probably sociopathic and incapable of making those kinds of connections. So it didn't bother her at all to sell me to my husband, who's currently sitting in Richmond City Jail as a violent registered sex offender.
Okay. Now, so you were sold to your husband at 17, and you are now an older lady, a few years older. What was it like? You just said, okay, I'm just going to deal with it. You didn't try to, at 18, divorce him and walk away? How did that transpire?
Well, there was a lot of confusing emotions, internally. Even if I didn't want to be in this situation, even if I didn't choose this situation, I felt obligated as his wife to try to make the situation work. And he was extremely violent. He took all the doorknobs off the doors. He nailed all the windows shut, and he would take the phone off the wall when he would leave the house. And he would come home at erratic hours, so you could never try to even plan to leave. Because
So in other words, he kept you off guard on purpose.
Yeah. So you're trapped in a situation. You don't even begin to conceive of how you could possibly get out, and then you have conflicting emotions. Like, my mom failed in all of her relationships. I have an obligation to try to make this work. And I was tormented for about a year with those feelings, and the abuse going on. I had from the beating that I took from my stepbrother that we just described, I had a head trauma injury, and I was disoriented to space and time. I couldn't tell which direction I was in. My words were slurred and mixed up in my head. I would get physically sick, and I didn't know that I had a head trauma because it was several months after the incident until the Head Trauma Association of Virginia sent me some stuff 6 months later, because I went to the ER. I had a 2-inch golf ball size knot from the beating that I took, and when he beat me, he choked me by my larynx, and his fingerprints were literally on my larynx on the x-rays. So when I was in this new relationship, I was having these problems, and he pulled a gun out and told me he would shoot me if I tried to call for help. So obviously I didn't get the help that I needed. And I've had more than one head trauma injury, so my short-term memory primarily is severely impacted, which makes, even though I'm an intelligent individual, the prospect of going to college and learning new material would be tremendously difficult, which is frustrating, in my current circumstances with, going through my divorce and trying to provide for my children, which was how I met you, because I was like, with my current set of circumstances and my own life experiences, how do I make the most of a bad situation? And I thought, propose and pitch Maria and Kids Surviving Crazy. I don't have a problem being open with the experiences that I've had. I don't have a problem encouraging people to say, look, my whole life I have been told, your mom's white trash. You aren't going to amount to nothing. Look at all this stuff that happened to you. Don't tell people that, because that's a reflection of you. And I was like, no, wait a second here. First of all, I am not a byproduct of my environment. I am an evolution of my life.
Okay.
You can be a byproduct of that kind of environment, and you can become an alcoholic or an abusive person, and you can perpetuate those circumstances, or you can choose as an individual to what your own self-worth is, and that's what I chose to do.
How old were you when you had your first child?
I was 16.
Okay. So the father of that child is not was the husband you got married to or something?
No. I had her before I was sold. My parents raised my daughter, and she is now a junior in college, and we're close. And I'm grateful to my parents for being there and providing her what I would not have been able to provide as adequately.
But I'm a little lost. That why did your mother beat you and allowed the stepfather to beat you, but then treated your daughter well?
It wasn't. My mother did not raise her.
Okay,
my father and my stepmother.
Okay,
I can understand no, under no circumstances would I have ever let my mother be near any of my children. I mean, she comes by or something, I don't invite her for Easter. It causes me stress and anxiety because she does not do anything for the benefit or welfare of anybody but herself, ever. And I, just like my siblings, that's the only parent that you have, that's the only mother that you have, and it's tremendously difficult as an individual to let go of that and to accept the fact that somebody's never ever going to tell you they're sorry for the pain and the misery that they caused you and inflicted on you.
I can understand that wholeheartedly. The father of your firstborn, is he around helping?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Miss Bless?
I was just thinking of, you were speaking of your mother's mental state. Do you feel like, a lot of times I've said that you are what you attract, or you attract what you are. Do you feel like she had people around her that were similar to her?
Certainly she keeps company with other people that, worked in the sex industry and associated with people that I guess didn't see themselves as valuable individuals. But as a sociopath, their primary objective is to align themselves with people that they can take advantage of and use. It's a different kind of mental illness. I think in other circumstances, when somebody's depressed or they have other issues, they do draw in people that have drinking problems and other things because of the mental illness being similar, where a sociopath is a predator type of personality.
Well, I don't know if congratulates the best word, but you are a very strong person. I can see that already. I'm sorry for what you've had to go through. Fortunately, you have learned from it, and you are trying to become a better person and speak out against things that you've gone through in the past. So what are you doing now?
Well, part of the reason we're proposing, or I'm proposing Maria and kids having crazy, is I've been married for 10 years. It wasn't a healthy relationship, but my husband did have a good job, and he wasn't an alcoholic, and he wasn't overly violent. There were violent tendencies, and now that things have come to the surface, I'm finding out that my children hid from me his physical abuse, which is tremendously difficult for me to deal with. I talk to my children frequently about sexual abuse because I was sexually abused throughout my childhood, and I guess didn't focus enough, and I'm deeply regretful that I did not talk to my children about that. Talk to your children about sexual abuse. Talk to your children about emotional abuse. Talk to your children about physical abuse. Even if it's going on in the schools, it's important. And my husband only did it when I was out of the house, or when he would take the kids away from the house, and he didn't leave marks, so I didn't know. And now I have to live with, not knowing that for 10 years as a parent, which I regret. And that's why I emphasize talk to your kids about it, ask them, and discuss those issues with them so that they feel comfortable discussing it with you. I'm fairly certain that none of my children were ever sexually abused, but you never know 100%, unfortunately. But on January 8th, my husband removed my 4-year-old daughter from my son's room, and he pushed her down. I didn't see it, and kicked our daughter in the side. And my now 11-year-old son, who was 10 at the time, told me once his father, he heard him go back to the other room, that his father had just kicked his 4-year-old sister. And she was crying, but I assumed she was crying because she didn't want to go to her room. And I got up immediately. And then my 15-year-old, now 16-year-old son said my husband kicked his 4-year-old sister. There's a moment we all have, and I had that moment where I wanted to physically attack my husband. That's not in good judgment, because then nobody can distinguish who's right or who's wrong. And I confronted him. And he casually shrugged his shoulders and said, "So what if I did?" During this exchange between him and I, my 15-year-old son said, "You need to stop hitting and kicking the girls," because we have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And my husband went into a rage. He was cursing and screaming and hollering. He stormed down the hall. He was hitting the walls. He knocked his door open. I came charging down the hall after him, and then got around him, and somehow I ended up between him and my son, and he was swinging around me wildly trying to hit him, and I got hit in the arm in the process. And I put my hand, I did not shove him, but I literally put my hand on him and pushed him back, which I was surprised that I was able to do. It didn't stop him. I mean, he just kept coming in, but then he grabbed me by my shoulders or the top of my shirt, and he was like, "I'm not going to pay the rent, or the house, the mortgage, you're going to get evicted, I won't pay this, I won't pay that." And I was like, "Go ahead. You don't take care of us now. You make $70,000 a year, and you don't buy groceries, you don't buy diapers, you don't buy clothes, you don't pay your kids' medical bills, so go on." I was like, "I'll figure it out. I've done it so far." So he walked down the hall, and I was behind him, and once I got, the living room is straight ahead, when I got into the doorway to my right, He charged down the hall like a linebacker, slammed my son into the door jamb, my 15-year-old, with his right forearm straight to the throat. Then my son is taller than him, but he's not as stocky as my husband. They were like in a bear hug and slamming into walls, and I'm trying to figure out whether I should try to separate them, or I'm trying to find my phone. And I was like, it's better if I don't get in the middle of two almost grown men if nobody's bleeding, and call the police. And then my husband was arrested. The first officer on the scene, my husband met them outside, and he actually was not going to arrest my husband. And he actually told me that it was a discipline issue that got out of control. Well, as all this is unfolding, I thought my husband was crazy, but they think my husband is a sociopathic, bipolar, paranoid schizophrenic with an IQ of 127.
Now, can I stop you? Because we were talking earlier about your first husband and your mother who sold you to him. Can we go back there? And
yes.
How did you get out of that relationship into the second one?
Well, my husband, when I initially had met him, he got a DUI, and he had more than one DUI. So I guess as fate would have it, he was locked up, and his attorney specifically asked me, did I want him to be locked up for a long time? And I was like, look, I don't want him getting out and killing me, so you can't ask me that question. But in the short time that he was in there, it gave me time to myself to assess the situation, and the fact that it was not my responsibility to try to make this relationship work, that it was an unhealthy relationship, that there was no chance of it getting healthy or being appropriate. So I left. That was actually in Bowling Green, Maryland, the situation. And then I got drugged back into it, and my husband drugged me out of a community meeting, and I ended up hiding in a ditch full of water on 301 with my head sticking out of the water in a thunderstorm in the summertime like a little turtle. And then the owners of a small hotel there in Bowling Green saw me at the city meeting and saw what my husband did, and they offered to give me refuge in the hotel until somebody could come and get me. And then I went to my dad's house, and then my dad was upset, and he ended up cutting off 2 of his fingers on the job. So, unfortunately I got out. My dad lost, part of his fingers. But I haven't looked back. I realized that, like I said, it wasn't my responsibility. I couldn't make the situation healthy. And, moved on, got into modeling and did some other things and stuff until I met my now 16-year-old son's father. He unfortunately was an alcoholic, but he did have a good job, and he did have 2 houses, and he was a functional alcoholic. So I moved up from a pedophilist abuser to an alcoholic abuser, because unfortunately when you drink enough you don't remember what you did. And got out of that situation when my son was a year old, because again I realized they're partying, they're drinking, people don't like having me around because I don't do that kind of stuff. And I did love my son's father dearly. Just because somebody's an alcoholic doesn't mean they don't have good things about him. He, worked, and he was a fairly intelligent and likable individual until he turned into Hyde. But again, I realized he's not going to quit drinking for me. This situation ain't going to get better. So, I got out. I had planned ahead, got people to buy me like towels and dishes and things so that I could get out on my own. And did. And then 4 years later, I met my husband. and got into that situation, which again, you know, I met him and I was like, okay, he's not, you know, he's educated. He's from an educated family. He's not like drinking heavy at the club, and, you know, all appeared to be good. And I thought I was making a good decision, but my gut told me something else, and I should have listened to my gut because it wasn't anything like I thought it was.
Oh, question for you. Okay. So we're on right now. You're currently divorcing the third husband.
No, I wasn't married to the
third guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Now, this is the issue that you're going through now with. Tell me. Let the listeners, I guess, from your own words, your thoughts of what you told me about how he kept the locker. You found out how he was. Okay.
Well, as I said, the relationship was always peculiar. The bank accounts were kept separate. My husband would come and go as he pleased. If he got off of work and he didn't come home until 11 o'clock at night just before he had to go to work, that wasn't unusual. I mean, I spent 2 years arguing and fighting and crying about it, and eventually I just accepted the fact that that's the way it was. We lived two different lives. I lived a life where I took my kids to the library and took them to church and took them to soccer and took them to taekwondo and read them stories, and I got to be mom, and my husband was rarely around, and he kept a locked room in our house. It was deadbolt locked. I wasn't allowed in the room, wasn't allowed to know about his bank accounts. He had a detached garage from the house that was also kept locked. I did go in the room occasionally, but never unsupervised. And I was never left in the room unsupervised. So I was aware that my husband had guns, quite a few guns. But until they came, he was removed from the home for the assault and battery, and CPS came in, and CPS wanted to see this room that everybody talked about. And then I told the police that I had seen some material, pamphlet from the KKK in his garage. I saw lots of neo-Nazi, Third Reich, Hitler kind of material. But again, I wasn't, not knowing anything about him, I wasn't sure if this was just informational stuff, historical stuff, because he was into, you know, Civil War and history and things. And I had seen an email that mentioned the Aryan Brotherhood. I don't remember the particulars of it, so I mentioned that to the police, and they came in with a sealed search warrant and found 168 loaded guns in our home. So there you go, living in nice middle class, upper class America. My husband's making $70,000 a year. We live in Colonial Heights with churches surrounding you on every corner, and right there is a arms dealer for the Aryan Brotherhood. You know, I knew eventually, you know, that the person's a racist when you live with them for that long. It becomes apparent. But I didn't associate with his friends, and I didn't go to activities with him. I just took care of my kids. And it's been difficult that psychologically to deal with the fact that you were nothing more than cover.
Where were the wives from his friends? Granted, you didn't associate with them, but where were the other women involved in the community? Wives, church ladies. You were always active. You, for the most part, shielded as best as you could, shielded your family, your children by the way, you have how many children now?
I have a total of 5 children.
Okay, 5 children. You shielded them all by getting involved in keeping them active in as many things away from home to take their mind off of stuff, and wonderful job with that. But where are the other women, I guess, in all this? Because obviously there are other women. If he's part of this group, there are other women who are going through similar things, such as yourself. Where were they?
Well, I mean, I guess it's a complex issue. On one hand, mostly my husband just wasn't around. And as long as I didn't ask my husband for money to buy diapers or groceries or anything like that, we generally didn't have any problems. Now, if I asked for money enough or asked for diapers enough that he got angry, he might retaliate by not putting a stove in our house for 3 years, or abandoning us during the hurricane when my baby was 2 months old and leaving us with $100. But for the most part, his way of dealing with things was a psychological warfare. I always explained to people, with my husband, it always felt like you were playing a game of chess. And it's like, who's better at playing the game? You can't talk about your strategy because you don't want to give up your strategy to the other person. I have no idea what he's doing or what he's up to. I just know he's not giving us money. And I didn't know he was physically abusing his children, particularly, apparently, our son, which everybody considered to be the golden boy, and that's literally how everybody in the family referred to him. He would take him to King's Dominion. He would buy him clothes. He would take him to Swader's. He would take him and do things that he wouldn't include nobody else in the family in. So everybody thought my husband wanted a blonde-haired, beautiful white child, and he got his son, and that's what he was happy with. And really, it wasn't like that at all. And that's what I'm finding out now, that I guess those activities were to make up for the constant physical and mental abuse that he was inflicting on my son. I found out from my son that when I would leave the home, he would yank the babies up by their arms and throw them on the bed and stuff like that and hit them. But again, it wasn't in such a way that you'd come home and you'd be like, oh, here's a bruise or something that made it obvious to you. And without my son telling me what he knew what was going on, I just assumed I was going to church and taking care of my kids and my husband was crazy.
Bless.
I was just gonna say, when you said when you met him, you didn't. I'm pretty sure there were no signs. People are good at hiding who they really are for a short while, but eventually it comes out. But in your case, you never saw. I mean, well, did you see anything? Your gut was telling you something wasn't right.
Well, I mean, you knew that things weren't right. He had a locked room. You know, you knew things weren't right because I wasn't involved in his life and I didn't know his friends, and you know, I didn't know about his bank accounts. I mean, there was a lot of things that I didn't know. So obviously something was weird and amok. That's why I would try to get in the room and try to get in his garage. And that's why I found the emails and stuff. When somebody's hiding something, your natural instinct is to try to figure out why they're hiding something. You know, and recently, because all of those things were there, but what he really was, you know, the mental illness showed itself. I mean, he would talk to himself, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong?
No, it's okay. We do that on the...
Ma'am, in this situation, I am all hands are off. You are not, you're not restricted.
You know, so you would see that and be like, you know, that's what you're literally thinking. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you talking to yourself when other people are present and you could have a conversation with them and you're in the car or you're in the house? And I could never figure out why, nobody else knew that my husband talked to himself. But when my husband would talk to himself in the car or in the house, he would be agitated. Like when you stub your toe and you're like, God damn. And so I was like, I kid you not, it was 4 months ago I figured that out. I was like, so when people saw him talking to himself at work or at Busch Gardens, they just saw somebody they figured, you know, your bank account got overdraft or your wife made you mad. And I was like, see, that's messed up. Somebody sitting there at work with you and severely mentally ill and you don't have a clue.
So all of this is fresh. This is How long have you been not dealing with him, or when the police came and knocked on the door?
He was removed on January 8th, so, it's been about 6 months. I knew and was aware to a point, like I said, of the mental illness and that things were off, but for the most part, it's fresh, dealing with the fact that my children were abused within the home is fresh. The realization that my husband is severely mentally ill, the fact that my husband wasn't just a racist, but that he actively was involved in this hate group and supplying weapons for them. And it's very disturbing to me that these weapons are meant to maim and harm other people. They're meant to facilitate hate crimes. And that he did that out of our home. He had another location, but he had it in the home. We frequently argued about the guns in the home because he worked 12 to 8. And I felt that put me and my children in danger because he would frequently go in and out of the house with guns, supposedly going to the shooting range or going hunting. Now I know otherwise. But I was like, people can see you when they're driving by the circle, when they're up. There's a street, like a hill, so you can see down my driveway from the other side. And I was like, so any of these people that realize that you got guns, that's like one of the number one things people break into your house to steal, decide to break into my house, and I'm here all night with my children. I don't know how to get in your safes. They see this deadbolt locked room there. Of course, that's the room they're going to want to go in. They don't care about my 50-inch flat screen TV. They want to know what's in that room. When they get in that room, they're going to see all these guns and all these safes, and they're going to want in the safes because obviously, logically, there's something more valuable in the safes than that's sitting out. And they're going to expect I can tell them, and I can't tell them, so they're going to be willing to cause bodily harm to my children. And he said if they did that, they were going to kill us anyways. So, that was disturbing enough, but then now that I know that he was affiliated with the KKK and the Aryan Brotherhood, he literally meant that if those people broke in my house, they were going to kill me and my children. And that's disturbing. The fact that you're willing to subject your family to that, not just a risk that somebody could break in, but that you literally are involved in something so horrible that people would be willing to kill your own family, and you're like, so what? No big deal. They're just my babies, just my wife, no big deal. I'd rather have my guns. Yeah, that was hard. Like the actual realization of what that really meant, and that I'm very upset because CPS and stuff were talking about my husband seeing my children. And I'm like, first of all, he was abusing my children. Secondly, he kicked my 4-year-old. But, the local authorities don't want to investigate my husband kicking my child. Just like the local authorities came to my house when they asked me to leave my home for 10 hours to go get my son from Maryland, which my husband knew he was going to be doing. And my husband is an electrical mechanical engineer by trade. We got back at 10:30. At 7 o'clock in the morning, there was smoke in my house. And I told them, the Commonwealth Attorney and the state police sent an arson detective out, and that arson detective looked me in the eye and said, arsonists want to start fires. They want to know that they started. I was like, so what do murderers do? Because the propane line was loosened under my house. There was 30 pounds of propane. If the smoke had ignited into a fire, it would have killed 5 people and probably the surrounding neighbors, let alone the fact that there was still over 2,000 rounds of ammunition in my home.
He is still locked up now, right?
No,
he's not.
No, that's what I was discussing. I am upset with the police because I have cooperated on every level once I got in the room and I started going through the bank account statements and stuff. Everything that I could possibly help them facilitate to hold my husband responsible for his crimes, I have done so. And last Friday, we went to my son's counseling session and my husband was there. I didn't know my husband was there because my husband's not paying his child support, but he has a new car. So we went in, and then I went straight to the desk, and my son was like, Mom, and then my husband pointed his finger and demanded me to leave my therapist's office, which hurt my heart. Because I was like, I've already been subjected to this my whole 10 years, and he just got to demand that I leave my therapist's office. So I called the police and my detective working the case, and I was like, here he is. Y'all been looking for him for 3 or 4 weeks. He's got a new truck, whatever. And I get a nasty reply back that I shouldn't be telling them how to do their job. I was like,
And I'm going to be the Edgar. Is this a certain locality? Is this Colonial Heights?
Yes. The police have straight up told me that the detectives who are actually investigating the case, because the local cops are questionable. We already discussed the fact that the arson detective did not want to look at my propane line, and I actually had to hire someone that came and said there was 30 pounds of propane. And I recently talked to that arson detective, and he was like, why didn't you call me? I was like, you made your opinion very clear to me. And that day when you left my home, I called the state police who are investigating my husband and the Commonwealth's attorney and told them what you said. So you can say otherwise now, several months later, but I just wanted you to let you know that. He was like, well, you call me back when you actually have proof of arson. I was like, well, that's all right. It's nice to know y'all don't care.
See, and then that's when you're going to ask, well, we did our job, after someone's killed or injured and all this other stuff. It's crazy.
Well, the fact that they know that there's this ongoing investigation against my husband, that the state police are involved and all of this stuff, and then they still choose to protect him.
I'm from Prince George, and the consensus has always been that Colonial Heights is the neighborhood or the area where most of the KKK, or they used to have marches in Colonial Heights for the KKK. They still do. I missed that.
They always passing. They do them at night, and then they always passing out flyers now, still on driveways and everything else. It's always on the news. They do it every.
In Colonial Heights.
Yeah, Colonial Heights, Chesterfield. Where else, Mr. Sincere? They.
I'd heard about Chesterfield. I hadn't heard about Colonial Heights.
Yeah, they do.
But I started that to ask, do you think that the police?
I think that there is
covering it up?
Some affiliation with the local police. Obviously, you have lots of officers, and not all cops are bad. I mean, the second cop that came on the scene when the first one was tripping, I don't know where you was raised that people go around kicking their little 4-year-old daughters and beating their kids like they're football players, but you need to go back there because you don't belong here. Thank God the other cop came, and he was trying to diffuse the situation. So he just told me and my son to write down what happened to us, and he wrote in his statement that one child said that he was, that he kicked the daughter, and another child said otherwise. The other child being the 4-year-old who kept hearing her dad say repeatedly over and over, I pushed her with my foot. So I was like, of course, she's 4 years old. She repeated what her dad said repeatedly, but I have a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old who saw the man kick the child from 2 different angles. Not, just move your foot. No, he drew his foot back and he kicked the baby in her side. That's not right. And they'd be like, so what if I did? And then you want to see my kids, and then they're talking about him. So I'm like, look, okay, you get drunk on your own and get a DUI. That does not constitute you not being able to see your children. You go get in a fight with somebody else when your children are not present. That does not constitute that you shouldn't be able to see your kids unless you're violent to your children. But this man dealt guns out of my house. He kept them in my home. He transported them on family vacations. Under no circumstances do I believe that this man should be entitled to be around his children, even if his temper could be rehabbed, which is highly doubtful. He's almost 50 years old. He ain't going to change. The fact that he was willing to subject his family to this lifestyle, we had no idea, and risk that we could get killed or maimed for his illegal activities, to me, constitute grounds that this man should never see his children again.
I agree with you.
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mitch. Go ahead. Bless. You can go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I agree with her. I don't feel that that's right. I mean, he's not paying child support on top of that. So usually in a court of law, you're not allowed to see your kids when you don't pay child support.
Where your oldest is in college. What's the status of the other 4?
Well, my 16-year-old does Penn Foster online. He actively participates in cosplay events and anime conventions. We've always had a passion for costuming.
So you're going to Comic-Cons?
Yeah, he does.
He's going to New York coming up?
I'm not sure. I know he's supposed to be going to one, I think, in Baltimore in August.
Okay. Is he? Well, he's not out. Is he out of E3 right now?
E3. I'm not sure.
Okay, not a problem. Because the 2 big ones, the New York and the San Diego one.
Yeah, no, he hasn't. Most of the ones he's attended have been up in D.C. and Baltimore. But you know, when you're only 16, you're only going so far.
Yeah, understand. Okay, so he's the 16-year-old is on. I want to make sure I got it straight. The 16-year-old is on doing Penn Foster.
Yeah, he does Penn Foster online. My 11-year-old is getting ready to go into middle school. He doesn't want to go to middle school. He's, a little different and a little chunky, and I love it because he owns it, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. I try to encourage a healthy lifestyle because cancer runs in my family. My uncle, my aunt, and my other uncle all died of cancer and heart disease. So, you got to keep it under control, that diet and exercise thing. But I love that it don't bother his self-esteem. I do try to encourage less ho-hos and Twinkies, but and then the 2 little girls, my 4-year-old is sassy. I ain't never met a baby that's as sassy as she is, and she's got some fashion sense. And then she just turned 3. She's got a little speech impediment, which makes her all that much more adorable because she got her big old kind of olive-colored green eyes and her blonde hair and her chunkiness because she's a little thick. So, and then she got a speech impediment on top of that. So she hard not to love that baby. The other one, sometimes you be like, look, if you don't talk to me.
You don't want to laugh, and at the same time, you're just like, where did this come from? But we know where it's coming from. Let's not forget and stuff like that. We're going to take us a little small break, collect a couple of things and so forth. We're going to go to the other side of this and things and show some success and things that you've gone through, okay? We're going to be right back in a couple of minutes of Enliven Radio, part of Legacy Internet Radio.
Ay. 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 Saleroso, sí señor vino. Sí, señor vino.
so certain that I can't refuse it. It's got me holding on so tight, and I don't ever wanna lose it. I can't get enough, no, I can't get enough of the magic touch that should make it go high. I can't get enough, no, I can't get enough of the magic touch that should make it go high. It's so good, it's so good, feels so good to me. It's so good, it's so good, I don't wanna stop now. It's so good, it's so good, feels so good to me. It's so good, it's so good, it's where I wanna be. Oh, I feel it burning up so hot, that sweet sensation that you're sending. I'm gonna give it all I got, and make that magic never ending. You know I can't get enough, no, I can't get enough of the magic touch that should make it go high. I can't get enough, no, I can't get enough of the magic touch that should make it go high. It's so good, it's so good, feels so good to me. It's so good, it's so good, I don't wanna stop now. It's so good, it's so good, feels so good to me. It's so good, it's so good, it's where I wanna be.
Hello, everybody. This is one and only Mr. LP Stephen Sykes with Enliven Radio, part of LEGACYINTERNETRADIO.com. I'm here with all the great people of Radio Land listening to us on the internet, also on LEGACYINTERNETRADIO.com through the TuneIn application. MixLR, thank you very much for Miss Michelle K. Robinson, who hit us up. Also, Mr. Cutting Edge. We got Mr. Sincere, Miss Bless, and the lovely. I had Maria Michelle. I had it. And you ain't gonna get me. All right, but I thank you very much for checking me to make sure I had it straight. I appreciate that. I thank you. Is that me? Who beeping? Oh, I don't know. I thought it was a click in my head. We went back here with this young lovely lady about her story and things of a couple of questions for you, because I'm going to swing it. I'm going to turn the wheel and swing a couple of different directions here. But before I swing, as you're going through this ordeal with the husband that you had and all the men that you're going through, you now had at one point was going through a situation where they were trying to take what money you had, house. Can you, and the government was trying to tell you different things. Can you elaborate on that for me, please?
Well, with all the strangeness in my relationship, my name is not on the house as his wife, and since we've lived there since we were together and married, it's a marital asset. So when we go to court on July 17th, the judge legally could have me and my children removed from the home, since even though it's a marital asset and I'm entitled to a portion of the funds, I'm not legally an owner of the home. And me and my children could be removed from the home, which inevitably is going to happen anyways, because no judge is going to tell me I can stay in the home for the rest of my life since my name isn't on the deed. So you have that issue, and of course, as we've discussed, my husband is not paying his support. His first tactic was to take a pay cut. The judge saw through his little guys and decided to award me support based on what my husband was making. So then his next tactic was to say that his back was injured, which I anticipated, and now he's claiming disability. But you know, that's what you get when you get smart people. They don't just quit their job. They're sneaky and evil and, you know, get their money while they're not taking care of their kids. So, you know, fortunately in the recent past, he took a disability for his back injury, and he worked and he built a building. So now I got to bring in a bunch of witnesses that can say, look, yeah, he's got a back problem. I'm not denying that. He has back pain. I'm not denying that. But it doesn't keep him from hunting. It doesn't keep him from building. And it sure as heck don't keep him from working.
And doing illegal activity.
Yeah.
And he is a part of the Aryan Nation KKK.
Yeah.
Okay. How a woman as approachable and nice, and a woman who's friends with a variety of people, and even though there was hate around you, you never grew up with hate. How did that affect you and your children? That aspect of it.
Well, it bothered me when my husband. But see, look, when my son's black friends would come over and he would say things like, "Your little niglet friend is at the door."
Whoa.
See, I was wondering if he ever said anything like that.
Yeah, that's upsetting to everybody.
Yeah, so he's Archie Bunker in times 10.
It's unfortunate because, that's my son's friend, and, the kid had to have overheard it. So how is that kid supposed to process that, are they going to come back? And sometimes they do come back, which is surprising to me, but, but at the same token, he was mean and derogatory to the to the white friends too. So, he's just mean in general.
Gee, I would have came back. I would have had some fun with this. Hey, Uncle Tom, how you doing?
I had a.
He probably would have shot me.
I bought my furniture, and I had a guy that comes out and repairs it, and he was black, and we had a discussion after my husband was removed because he came back again. It was the same guy. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with your husband, but you could tell he did not want me in your house." And I was like, that's unfortunate because if you're doing your job, what's the issue? But I guess, one, there's a 12-year age difference, so you got to start there. You grew up in a different era than I did, and that doesn't excuse it because you got to grow up and mature sometime, right?
Yeah, so you're 35 and he's 47. Okay.
Well, I'm almost 37 and he's almost 50.
Okay. So now he's going through all of this, and you're trying to process all this stuff. You also earlier you talked about the video, and things that you're looking to do with your organization.
Well, one thing is, like I said, pitching Maria and kids surviving crazy. Ultimately, we already discussed at some point me and my children are going to be removed from the home because my name isn't on the deed, so therefore I'm not an owner.
Are you okay? What's the backup plan for the? And the only reason why I'm asking is because, and not to be mean, but what's the backup plan? So those who's listening out there, the foundation and the people, donations, PayPal, things of that nature. How can people help you?
My site, Kiss Maria, and it's spelled MERIA. Has a donation page, and with this video that I'm putting out there, because as I've discussed here in this group, I've been discussing this with non-whites for months, and I myself was guilty of not fully understanding what the Aryan Brotherhood was. I thought it was just like some racist white people, and they're an extremely dangerous gang. Their primary function is actually as hitmen. The other gangs hire them to do the killing. And given the fact that my husband had so many guns, including sniper rifles, 10,000 rounds of ammunition, bulletproof vests, and things like that, that's totally, conceivable. And that's one of the things that I discussed here in the group. What makes the Aryan Brotherhood more dangerous than other gangs is, let's be honest, if you talk to the pagans, if you talk to a black gang, how many of them have 168 guns in their home? How many of them have 50 high-powered scopes? How many of them have 10,000 rounds of ammunition and 5 bulletproof vests? These people are armed for war. They make good money. My husband made $70,000 a year. They're educated individuals with resources, and they're building for war. That they're a national terrorist group. Their goal is to overthrow the government and subjugate the non-whites, or kill them, whichever happens first. But that's their objective. They consider them inferior, and unfortunately, the video, as much as I find it disturbing, has racist content for informational purposes, because as I've gone out and I've approached people and I've discussed it, 80% of the people don't know what a white supremacist is. 80% of the people don't know what the Aryan Brotherhood is, even though it directly impacts them. It's one thing for me to be white and not know what an Aryan brother is, because they're not going to kill me. But to know that it directly impacts your minority or non-white group, and that the hate is directed at you, and that those weapons were to facilitate hate crimes against you, is disturbing. It's disturbing that the police have, that I know of, only what I know of, at least 8 felony charges against my husband, and he has not been arrested. They're building a case, and I understand and respect that, and that's why my real name isn't being used. But they've been looking for him for 4 weeks to question him. If they're not charging him, I'm telling you, people, you have to go to my site. They're going to negotiate a deal with a terrorist who supplied weapons and possibly committed crimes of hate against non-whites.
Let me ask you this. This is something another white person tells me all the time. Many people, consciously or subconsciously, are still fighting the Civil War here. As a white person, he says that he sees a lot of them here still hate. They talk about us and meaning Black America, the whole color skin issues, all not supporting all these other things. It's way worse within the community that some hate Northern whites more, or they hate somebody who, such as yourself, who associates with other cultures and groups, and don't have a problem because you love us all. You genuinely don't see color. Others, they just don't care. They just want to kill. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do. I've been to California and I've been up north, and, as a child growing up in school, you would see that in pockets. You would see the skinheads or the rednecks, and they would be racist, but it was a small minority of white people that felt that way. And I do find that the older whites tend to be more racist than the younger whites, such as myself, because we grew up in an integrated environment. My dad and my husband were in that process of the integration, and a lot of hostility came with that. And unfortunately, we have an environment that is conducive to it. As a white person, when you have a situation and you look and you go, okay, there's special scholarships for Black people. I went to Huguenot. There was 30 white kids in the school, and I was discriminated against, to me, worse than I saw when I went to Manchester and we had our little pockets of racist white people. But it was taught in that community. And Huguenot, it was taught that the white people were suppressing them, and we facilitate these things. We're divided by our differences. We're distracted by our differences, and that's unfortunate, because we can't improve our economy. We can't improve our lives while we're worried about whether you're Catholic and I'm Jewish, whether you're Black and I'm white.
Or the fact that, I've interviewed, they disturbed with the fact that in 10, 12 years, if not sooner, they're not the majority anymore, all these other different things. And I'm like, so? And things are just crazy. Do you feel that, and it's probably a dumb question already, do you still feel that the general area of Chesterfield, all that area, is still very much racist, or do you feel it's gotten better?
I personally have not witnessed the passing out of the KKK pamphlets where I live in Colonial Heights. Mm-hmm. But now, with my experience with my local authorities, I have to say yes, there are people within that community that are that way and feel that way. Now, a lot of my neighborhood is really old people, like 70, 80 years old. Okay, so they ain't gonna
have a few.
There's probably
the flags in the front yard.
Yeah, they might be racist, but they're harmless. They're out on their scooter,
They're just gonna knock you over with the cane. They ain't gonna tip you, okay?
But, that's the community that I live in Colonial Heights, so I'm not exposed to all of that. But, unfortunately, like my brother-in-law, I'll be glad when all of this stuff gets out because he's a very controlling individual, and I will be glad when it's out in the media that he is as racist as he is and controlling and demeaning as he is, because truthfully, he doesn't need to be working at a bank. If you feel like that, then you shouldn't be making money off of people that you hate and despise and disdain.
Donald Sterling Jr. Okay.
And then, at the same token, like we discussed, the video is an informational video, but we have to pass this around. Some of the information that's in my video came from white supremacist websites, and these people are hitting on 169 hits a month. They are raising $15,000. I have to pay for my attorney because, good, bad, or indifferent, my husband is an intelligent individual. He keeps throwing stuff out. And even though it doesn't stick, I still got to pay my attorney to go down to the police station and deal with it because I ain't going nowhere without a attorney present. I mean, that's just good sense.
Yeah, I understand. I wish a lot more people to follow that. Let me ask you a couple of questions before we jump back towards you. First, I want to throw in some comments. You have a lot of support online from Mr. Cutting-Edge, Michelle K. Robinson. They are saying, various things they would have utilized the Second Amendment appropriately to him. A couple of them, that we need to wake up. Yes, you're saying, a lot of them were saying that you've gone through so much. Kids are crazy. She hears the stories from her mom. Sorry that you're dealing with this racist pig. Just a variety of different things. The question I want to have switch around a little bit, general society. The young lady in Florida, I just forgot the lady's name.
Marissa Alexander.
Yes, thank you, Marissa Alexander, or to Stand Your Ground. You're seeing a lot of women, regardless, shooting and things like that. Are you familiar with that particular?
I'm not familiar.
She was in a house with her husband and was afraid that he was going to attack her, and he had his child in the house, and they arrested her for shooting, and it was in his direction, I believe, but didn't hit him, but she was just trying to get him to back off, and they arrested her. Whereas everyone else that has actually killed someone, well, in a few instances, some people have gotten off with actually killing someone using Stand Your Ground, but when she tried to use it as an African American, she was arrested and put in jail.
And basically, and there's a record. They have a record of him constantly beating the brakes out of her. Right. So she got a weapon and things like that. She shot it in the air to told him to get away. Didn't even aim it at him. But she got 50 years life, some crazy amount. And she's out now, still fighting. But it took 3 or 4 years and things. And since she's been out, they've been doing every single thing they can. The lady drove to the bank to get the money to pay her fees, and they want to take the money to the court, and she's supposed to, and they want to try to arrest her. It's been crazy. But you hear situations like this all the time, and also women and guns. What is your thought? I already know that you do not mind in your situation wanting to have a gun, but just overall, when you hear situations like this, your thoughts?
Well, I'm torn because I do feel that as an American citizen, I have the right to defend myself. And if you have groups like the Aryan Brotherhood who are national terrorists on our soil trying to overthrow our government, and I see all these things on Facebook, kill Obama and this, that, and the other thing, I'm like, that's our solution. Hate and murder is our solution to the problem.
And here's the fact that I don't honestly get. We didn't, not say we, minorities in general helped, but we didn't tip a burden in terms of getting it, because obviously we're not the majority. Okay, it was majority white votes that put him in there. We just helped pad it, the votes. Okay. Now, granted, there are plenty that did not vote for him of all races. So I don't understand the loudness of the the minority of the few that didn't vote for him make so much more noise than the white people that did vote for him?
It's a, like with my husband making all these accusations against me, what I have found with our particular situation is sociopaths, and there's a lot of them out there, and their goal is to deflect. So if they can deflect from something else and put it here, then they're distracting you. And that's part of the objective. That's what makes people like my husband with an IQ of 127 so dangerous. People are angry and we're not satisfied, and our economy is not healthy, and I'm not denying that, but Obama can't fix it. He does not have the power and the authority to make the laws and break the laws, irregardless of what somebody says. You know, we have a whole process for making laws. You know, it's our responsibility. That's why I started We Are People for People United. It is a way outside of corporate bureaucracy and outside of the government that we as people can take personal responsibility for the economy and making it better. That's our responsibility. You know, I understand why welfare is there. People can criticize. If Obamacare hadn't been instituted, I have sarcoidosis. I have fibromyalgia. I would be considered uninsurable. I mean, I'm sure my husband, being a conservative white Republican, is fine with the fact that his wife can die from her diseases and be uninsurable, but I'm not. So, you know, I mean, I'm grateful that it exists, and I'm grateful that I can receive the health care that I need. You know, and that's part of what makes my situation so devastating. I can't learn to do something else, however intelligent I am, because of my head trauma injuries. I have sarcoidosis. That's what killed Bernie Mac. Statistically, it's about 40 in every 100,000 that are impacted in the African American community. It's 1 in every 100,000 in the Caucasian community.
And to my understanding, is that the one where your organs harden?
What happens is kind of like the best analogy is, you know how when a clam or an oyster gets a little grain of sand in it, and that grain becomes like a pearl. Well, that's what happens. We overproduce calcium, and the calcium deposits into our organs. And the danger isn't the calcium, it's the scar tissue that forms around the calcium, because the scar tissue will never go away. The calcium deposit itself will eventually dissolve. It's the scar tissue that's left in your organs, and primarily it affects your lungs.
Think of a bunch of marbles, itty bitty particles, but just jagged edges all around it, and it's scarring all around. So that's basically kind of what it is. What do you think of the music today? We have a lot of rappers, country, whoever, that, and especially within the rap, some in the rap community, is prevalent. The B, the age where I'm gonna smack my B.
You're in the rap community. Is that what you just said?
No, I did not say.
What did you say? Because I missed that. Clear.
Did they miss sincere? Did I say I was in the rap community? Did that?
It sounded like it.
Okay. Yo. Okay, let me stop.
You have a distaste for rap music.
No.
Most
Yes,
of it.
yes, he
Most
does.
of it.
No.
Yes, he does.
No.
He's a hater.
No. I do
You
not.
just like the misogyny of rap music.
Pretty
You
much
just
that.
like the bad language and the
Very much so.
pretty much the bad part of rap music. But
Correct,
then
yeah.
if it was good rap music or positive rap music, it wouldn't make money, and they wouldn't do it.
That don't mean. I guess just for me
Can you
that.
get that out your mouth, sir, while you're talking? Because people need to understand you.
Especially on the microphone. I mean, you come on, man, tighten up.
You know,
bet he's
part
never
of
gonna
it
bring me
is
here again.
is an age issue. You know, I mean, some people don't ever grow up, but you know, when I was 20 and I went to Niagara Falls, I thought, look, if I was 40, I'd appreciate this. But I'm 20 and I want to be in a club, not looking at some damn water faucet going over some rocks. So, you know, that being the case, you know, we're at different stages.
He's laughing because he knows good and well. I'm like, cool, the water. He's like, man, okay, you done?
Look, you know, then you're on that adventure. You want to go out into that storm and be kicked around and stuff. Look, I'm getting almost 40. I'm like, forget that. Look, put me on a little raft on some still water.
Oh, see, I would have had fun with all of that, but but what is your thoughts as the music that has all of that? It's just an age thing for you.
Well, I mean, look,
like, are you on that after you leave here? Are you going home twerking and anything?
Look, it's funny because like
turn up.
I posted on my Facebook, like, I wasn't dressed up or nothing, but I was goofing around and I can dance. And some black people say I still can't dance, and I was like, look, it's not choreographed, and I wasn't dressed up or whatever, but I can dance. So my son showed me this twerking video, and he was like, I was like, look, I could do all of that when I was young. So he challenged me, and I was like, look, you save that on my thing, in 30 days I'll be able to do that. Now, it's a whole routine. It's not just twerking, I was like, I'm old and out of shape, but I can show you your little 16-year-old butt that your mom can do that. So
you're going to record a video, you're going to be sitting out there shaking it like Miley Cyrus up in here, aren't you?
Look, Miley Cyrus couldn't shake nothing. I don't know what she was doing. She looked like a crackhead.
Awesome. The truth comes out on Enliven Radio. We take that.
But I mean, like, my son's got a song on his thing, and it's on mine, and it's my dick, and it's some white boys rapping about their dicks, and it's a good song.
Wow. I have learned something new today. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
The only part that I don't get, like, their what do you call it? Their catchphrases. We got dicks like Jesus. I was like, look, you'd be sorry if he had a small penis.
I'll tell you.
Wow. You sitting there bragging like you got something. You got 2 inches.
I don't think you should run around and be like, yeah, I got this now. But I understand you make a valid point.
But it's a catchy song, so I listen to it sometimes. I mean, I'm just being honest, but I like to dance. So,
well, my take on the conversation we were having before was how ignorant a lot of people are to the fact that there are these racist groups or anti any other race but white. They're right. Just against. But the music nowadays doesn't really. It's pretty much ignorant music. It's just music to fill our heads with nonsense. So there's nothing to learn from the music nowadays. It seems like.
Thank you.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I listen to music to dance too. So I don't listen to music to educate. If I want to educate, I have a conversation or I read a book or a magazine.
Music used to do that. It used to educate us. That was the whole thing. Music provided us movement to march and, Marvin Gaye, what's going on? All the stuff,
But, it's
rap, not R&B.
Well, okay. Yes, I did. I'll.
Everything is an internal battle. Look, with my nonprofit, you see me, I'm wearing tight clothes.
You look fabulous, darling.
Thank
you. I often show off my cleavage, and if you're going to run a nonprofit, there's going to be a whole lot of churches and a whole lot of conservative people that are going to cast out my nonprofit because I don't fit the mold. And we cannot just pass judgment on people because of how they look. I have a nice body. I appreciate my sexuality. I am not one of these women that think I got to cut my hair off to educate somebody, to be a positive role model. Now, you might not want your daughter to look at me as a role model because if I had a plastic surgeon put everything back together and Playboy said I'll put you in the magazine, I sure enough would. But that's a different subject. But that's embracing it. Everybody's different. I'm not going to pass judgment on you because you're going to pass judgment on me. But it does bother me that culturally there are people that no matter how good the work my nonprofit does or how much it could benefit society as a whole will pass judgment on my nonprofit because of my image, because of my personality.
No, you took my hand, and I went this way for a reason. You modeled, and you still continue to model, I believe.
Yeah.
How long you been doing that?
Well, I took a hiatus during my marriage to my husband, so I'm kind of getting back into that, and I'm looking for sponsors. I'm hoping to, once this video is out, and I'm able to send it out, to like reach out to pinupgirlclothing.com and some of the other, since retro is my thing.
You seem you have a lot of burlesque in you as well.
That's what my son keeps saying. I reckon I could pull that one off. Ironically, in my video, I did a rap. But I grew up in that era, and sometimes I'm torn because this is my look, but I can dance. But then like you can flip out a rap, or you can sing.
You can do whatever you put your mind to, honey. Don't let nobody stop you from doing what you can do.
So I'm like, how does all that fit? How am I going to be twerking up there in my 1950s clothing? But we'll figure it out when I get my reality series right. People will be like, look, that lady's crazy, but that's all right. As long as I'm educating people and trying to be a positive role model and making a difference, and telling my story, then that's what matters at the end of the day. Not the fact that I'd be willing to do Playboy. What I do with my life and how I live my life and the example that I set and the people that I try to help is what people should judge me on. Like, people shouldn't be judging people on the color of their skin or the social situation or economic situation. I've had that my whole life. Upper class white people think they're better than me because I didn't come from money like they did, and they passed judgment on me for the things that people did to me, not the things that I've done, which totally baffles me. Like, I'm a bad person because somebody molested me. But I guess that's how you think. Maybe I shouldn't be hanging out with you.
Well, you said you can rap. I got a beat right here for you. Let's see.
Lord have mercy. Now I can't just be putting it off like that.
Oh, okay. You can't hook me up. Come on.
Not just some.
Let's go, yo. Oh, okay. Okay. I figured I'd try.
That's exasperation.
Well, like,
see, y'all act like I don't know nothing. See,
now the point was you were getting ready to try to do something.
No, first of all,
things were going to get fishy.
First of all, I can.
And you still had it in your mouth. Take it out your mouth.
Well, in my video, and I don't have the beat to go with it. It's the world we live in is so full of sin, people dying, children crying, so disturbing. Each word and help me change it, rearrange it. Can't conceive in, best believe in. Each piece is unique as is.
And see, I started it off.
My memory gets me sometimes because I got to remember the other lyrics. But, it's based on my life experience. And at that moment, that's what I was feeling. And that's what came out. I did a couple of hip hop songs and I do some, I got my little Southern thing going on.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, you have a strong Southern draw. So, that's how it is. Now, how come, obviously you're doing it now, but you do a lot of public speaking for your foundations and things. Have you seen that now that you are out and about doing your message, speaking to people and letting people know what's really going on out there? Do you feel people are calling you out to do more public speaking, helping us be more aware?
Well, actually, this would probably be my first foray into something where I didn't just walk up to people and start talking to them. I'm not shy or bashful, and certainly it would be more productive if you had a group of people or, I reached out to and I can't memory issues, the mayor of Richmond has a church. His son is
Second Street, yeah.
Is I guess the one running the church, but I reached out to them and got rejected. I reached out to Michael Baisden, got rejected. Reached out to Oprah Winfrey, got rejected. I don't understand the principle. Obviously this is important.
Well, if you get shot down once, it doesn't say that you can't try again. So just keep trying. It takes some people a lot of times to get through. So unfortunately, that might be what you have to do. Now, you were talking about a reality show. If we could have Baby Mamas of Richmond and we could have ATL Love and Hip Hop and all of those what's holding you back right now from doing yours?
Well, I part of it, I guess, is people are hesitant to get involved since my husband actually has not been charged, irregardless of the evidence that I can provide them to support what's actually going on. And then, I mean, you got to be a little bit crazy because my husband tried to blow up my house, and you know he's ex-military, and you know all of these things. So, for the sake of television and educating the general public, are you willing to tote around a camera and put your life at risk? I mean, if me and my children can be at risk, then certainly there's got to be some powerful people out there that are willing to take that risk to get the message out there, you know.
Reporters do it every day and overseas and things of that way. Mr. Sincere, what you got?
I want to know, are you going to do a show?
What?
You.
We're doing a show now.
No. I wanted to know if you're going to do a reality show.
Oh boy, I do enough things, man. I don't think people want to see my life. Most people know I'm already out there. They don't need the camera to know I approve it. I'm willing to admit that, you know, hey, sometimes I swing from a different tree, but you know, hey, we do what we
You
can.
still got something in your mouth?
No.
It's like, nah, I swallowed it. Be like my kids. No, I didn't eat that cookie.
What's the worst thing besides all the things here? What's some of the things for worse, but also fun things you had to deal with as a parent with your children?
Well, you know, I mean, like all parents with a teenager, they always think they're right. Always. That's so exhausting.
And some of them that were teenagers that grew up thinking the same way, when they get adults, they think the same thing.
I have no.
That sounded like that was a shot at you.
I think so. You know, just you know, he just a hater. He's just a hater.
Did you all know each other coming up?
How long have I known you? 10, 12?
No, shoot, about 15 years.
15 years? So, Martinsville, you know, it's just been since I found out he was from down there.
Oh, Lord Jesus. I've traveled around the world.
Worked on the racetrack crew.
I'm a co-sleeper. I've co-slept with all of my children, which I love and adore, and I understand they're only going to be little people for a little while, and so, you know, I would rather have them close to me while they're little bitty and they got their little round tummies and all of that. But, you know, sometimes I wish I had my own bed.
Is your oldest, your daughter and your son, are they mamas? You know, does the daughter like, no, my mama got this, so you got to treat me the same as your son, the mama's boy? Anything?
Well, you know, I mean, all personalities are different. I think that was a problem that my husband had with his son. You know, like the counselor said, even if he took Vincent to the KKK thing and put his little dunce cap on him, Vincent wouldn't have been able to pull it off. It wasn't his personality. He wasn't a hating type of person. He be jiggling with his little fat rolls and, you know, making goofy faces and stuff. So he couldn't, you know, he's just not a hating person. He's not a killing machine. It's just not in his personality. My daughter is strong and independent. You know, I guess there's a bit of vanity in us, you know. So if I had one sin, vanity would be my sin. And unfortunately, I have passed that on to my children.
Did you have to kick any girls away from your son and some boys away from your daughter?
No, my daughter's had the same boyfriend since middle school.
Oh, okay, good.
You know, probably they'll get married because they've been together this long, and that's all right, I guess. I just hope it works out because you ain't tested no other waters. But, you know, if it's good, it's good. You know, she's going for her medical degree, and she's got a full scholarship, you know, and that's in part, you know.
See, all this is a battle because your beautiful offspring are doing it. They're doing the right
you know,
things.
people want to say things about the number of children somebody has. You know what? All of my children open doors for the elderly. All of my children say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. All of my children say please and thank you. So I have not just produced offspring. I have produced something that will give something back to society.
See, I'll take that any day. I'll take that every day because I've always been on people making sure their children do the right thing and stay on them. I can't say beat them now, but put the
I
fear
can
of
say
God.
it beat them.
Well, yeah,
And we know you would beat yours, so I don't know what you're trying to play that all up. Yeah, Michelle? Trying to act like he wouldn't beat his own.
I would not beat any.
See, there you go.
No, because there's plenty of times I want to beat other people's children. I think we need to go back to that.
They say it's different when you have your own.
It depends. Like, I was at a Wendy's one day, and some lady like yanked this kid up by their arm and like drug him across the Wendy's, and their feet were not making contact, and I was in a rage. My children was like, Mom was gonna snap, and so I went over and said something to her, and then the mom walks out from behind the counter and decides to confront me. I was like, you have done the wrong thing.
You better walk and turn around.
Indicated that, not this immature 20, maybe 19-year-old girl just did something stupid. You're 40 years old and you just let somebody drag your child across the Wendy's. I'm about to kill you. Now I have swatted my babies on the bottom when they begin crazy and screaming and yelling like they lost their mind, because I ain't got the patience for that kind of thing. But I'm not beating them. I ain't leaving no bruises. It's just a swat to say, look.
Are you weren't one of those parents that let the kid fall out in the middle of the grocery store and got mad? I want my candy and all the other stuff.
Well, first of all, none of my children have ever done that.
Okay.
God bless them. Now, sometimes my sassy one can push my boundaries, but she don't do that out in public. She does it at home, and I'm like, look, you're going to have to go sit in the corner before I kill you. And then I call my 16-year-old. I'm like, you better get your baby sister before I kill me a baby.
What do you do? How do you feel when you see those parents out there and be like, look, time out, stop your crying? Yes.
Well, look, let's be real. That goes right back to parenting. Okay, I have 5 children, and none of my children have ever done that. I mean, the closest that I got is my sassy 4-year-old. But, and for all those parents out there that are going to be mad at me, I understand when you got to work 40 hours a week, and then you got to drive, and you got, lunch break and all of that. And I tolerated it in intolerable situations so that I could read books to my children and be there every moment of their lives. And, I messed up because I didn't discuss with my children about physical abuse, and it happened. But my children are well-behaved children because they have a mother who's involved in their lives and is there on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis. And I feel for the families and the people that are not in that situation, because it does hurt the children, and it's not your fault, and that's one of the reasons I'm trying to do We Are People for People United. One of the principles is at point of sales transactions, the people that choose to participate in We Are People for People United will learn how credit works. They will pay off their debt, maybe at a negotiated rate. And then the funds that are donated at a point of sales transaction, like a 7-Eleven, a JCPenney's, or whatever, will not be given directly to that person, because I know from personal experience, when you get a tip, you're tempted to spend it in irresponsible ways. But what we want to do is help people work towards goals. Do you want to put your kid in Taekwondo? Do you want to put your daughter in ballet? Do you need to buy a reliable vehicle? And we want to help you work towards those goals and accomplish those goals and improve the quality of your life. The organization isn't going to make you rich, but it will raise your minimum wage. It will improve the quality of your life, and it will teach you how to manage your money wisely. This is a skill that I had to learn on my own. Remember, my mother was a prostitute and a stripper. I did not learn these skills from them. I learned by educating myself and listening to other people more intelligent and more educated than myself, and reading. And I had to go through a bankruptcy. At one time, I made $18.50 a week as a courier. I worked my tail to the bone, and I worked 18 hours a day. And then 9/11 happened, and it changed the courier industry. And there is nothing in the world that not a high school educated individual could do to make $18.50 a week than something illegal, and that wasn't happening. So, I had to file bankruptcy, and I learned a lot from that experience. So I want to take what I've learned in my life and help people to improve the quality of their lives. I have great empathy for women who leave their children in cars, and something bad happens, and I'm not justifying that decision, but I understand when you're making a minimum wage and you got to buy diapers and your mom won't watch your kid and your babysitter decided to get drunk, that things happen and you make bad decisions. And that's why I want to do this. I have learned and I have lived it. I'm not some rich white lady that came from rich white parents. I grew up and went to Huguenot High School. I grew up in poverty. I learned from those mistakes, and if I can overcome my disabilities, my sarcoidosis, my head trauma injury, the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, then anyone out there that wants to do the same can. I lived it, and I'm living proof that you can do it, and I want to help people to do that. And I want to do that by sharing my story and helping them to realize you are not alone, that this is not a battle you have to fight by yourself, that it is not a race issue, it is a social class issue. We need to educate people in lower social economic situations about how credit works, about how money works, how to use it wisely, how to get to a better place. Another goal, which I think all the people in this room can understand, besides raising someone's minimum wage and the quality of their lives, that's going to improve the quality, the economy. 6 months from now, if we did that in Colonial Heights, those people would be impacted, and the economy of Colonial Heights would be impacted. Because even if you and I only took $20 a week, $20 a week could primarily go back to the individuals that we're assisting to do this. But another thing is, and I've been trying to reach out to Obama, but God puts us in places, and my life happened like it did, and my story is what it is, and sooner or later he's going to get charged, and this is going to have national coverage, and I'll be able to take advantage of that. I was reading Forbes magazine, and Forbes magazine was talking about how they give away scholarships and how they will never get rid of ignorance. And I thought, that is an ignorant thought right there, because we have the internet and we can educate thousands of people for what you just spent educating one individual. And why in this culture, in our society, do we not have a free online higher education program is beyond me, but we will.
What I've always said, and a lot of people get mad at me, I think it should be a national law. You have to have a high school diploma or GED.
Well, you should, but we should be able to go beyond that, and that's what
no,
we're trying to do.
I agree with beyond that, but I'm just saying the basic bare minimum. Like, honestly, people get mad at me, but if I could find a way to make a law, president, mayor, governor, what have you, if you don't have your high school diploma, like if you quit school for whatever reason, you got 6 months. After that, I'm finding you. If you get too long, I'm putting you in.
Well, it depends. Some people like my brother are not terribly intelligent.
No, it depends on the situation. Obviously, I'm just talking about those who just like, I ain't trying to give it blank.
Yeah. Now, my brother's turn wrenches, and that's what he's good at, but he's not a real bright individual. So, if you got a skill set and you're contributing to society and you don't have a GED, more power to you. We need people that do plumbing and build houses and do roofs and stuff, but they should be treated equally. I don't see the person that cleans the toilet as less important than the person that manages the restaurant. And I'm sorry for those that are offended because, you work long hours and stuff, but I want my toilet clean. And I appreciate the person that actually goes in there and does that nasty job.
I know how it is.
And if that person was making more money, then they might clean that toilet better because they got treated better. And that's part of what this program is about. It's about being people that can be involved in a community. We have to stop looking at our individual differences, and we have to come together as a community and unite to change the economy. We have to come together and tell President Obama or whichever president is in office when it comes into play, we are People for People United will at some point offer a free online higher education program. We will facilitate people coming from high school, and you will know that you have the opportunity to better yourself, to become more educated, to make more money. And we will work with local colleges and stuff, because there should be an influx where people go into our program. But if everybody got the same degree, then it would be pointless, because then nobody would get a job. We have to help get those individuals from the online education, which is like a facilitation, I guess, kind of like a middle school, right? Into colleges and universities where they can take their labs and finish their education. But this gives people like myself that are like, how the hell am I ever going to go to college, even though I got a 3.75 GPA? No, that's out. That's off the table. That ain't even an issue anymore. If we can do this, that's not an issue. And we can do this if President Obama and the government would allow people to take $1 out of your paycheck every single week and donate it to We Are People for People online college university. We could offer these programs. We could utilize the social services departments that we pay for with our taxpayer money to register people.
Okay.
We can utilize the schools that we pay for with our taxpayer money for people to go take their exams and pay those teachers to work overtime if they so choose, or make some extra money, because that's smart. We don't need to have extra buildings. I mean, online education is one of the top paying Forbes whatever businesses, Phoenix Online and stuff like that. We need to take that element out of this. The way that we have education available to everybody, we need to make a uniform program available to everybody, and then help transfer those individuals into continuing their education and becoming lawyers, doctors, lab techs, whatever it is that that person desires to do. There's no reason why a grown adult in the United States of America who has the capacity to learn should not learn and should not hold a job that pays more than working at Walmart.
That is true. Now, what's the website?
The nonprofit website is we, the letter R, people, the number 4, people.org. That's for the nonprofit organization. It has a 4-step process that would improve the economy for everyone in the United States, including, like I said, the raising people's minimum wage. Because as you know, as I know, as any educated individual knows, if the government raises the minimum wage, the corporations will distribute the cost of the raised minimum wage to the cost of goods and services. So you're still, even if you're making $15 an hour, that way you are not living at a higher standard of living, because it's just going to cost you more for the same things that you already have. What I'm talking about is that you and I take our money, we get to write it off, and those people's incomes is raised without raising the cost of goods. Is that not an intelligent way to go?
I believe so. Now, one of the things we do towards the end of most shows, we don't get to it all, but I play a little thing called Words of the Week.
Say that again?
I play a little small game called Words of the Week.
Okay.
Some like it, some don't. Now, the whole point of it is, as you're an avid reader like I am, come across words, and some words I do know, some I didn't. But the goal is I'm not trying to sit here and say who's smart, who's not, whatever. It's just fun to guess the word and try to use it in a sentence and in the definition and things. So we'll try to go for it. So you're ready?
I reckon.
Okay. I'm sorry. And per request of Miss Blessed, I made sure I got easier words.
Precipitous.
Yes. Now, I'll play it again for everybody.
Precipitous.
Precipitous. Could you try to spell it?
No, I can't spell. Let's just be forward right there.
I know, but just try. Just for fun.
Look. I got spell check always correcting me. Sometimes the spell check don't even know what I'm trying to spell. But precipitous means to perpetuate on and on.
One way, yes. But it also means dangerously high or steep, and also nature extremely or impassably steep.
No, see that I didn't know.
Okay, but someone got to try to spell it, Mr. Sincere.
You know, I don't participate in your game.
I had a word this week, pariah.
Pariah.
Not P what?
PARIA. I don't think that's it. Pariah. Someone makes themselves a pariah, sort of above everybody, a little self-centered. They're pariahs. But I'm trying to think.
Actually, that's wrong.
Okay.
I thought so too. It's actually an Indian from India, the country India. It's a word that they use for outcasts. For people that are rejected by society. Not that they chose to be a reject, but that society has rejected them. Which I was really surprised because I sure didn't think that's what it meant.
Cool, thanks. I got no problem.
Mr. Wordsmith himself.
I have no problem, but that's the whole point of this, is to learn. I got no problem. I never said I knew everything. I never
but
acted.
You sit back there, though, don't you?
Well,
and I got
it's
happy.
terrible when you think you know.
I appreciate
like
it.
I thought I knew and I didn't know. And I asked my children's godfather and my stepfather, Avarice.
PARIAH.
Okay, cool.
You were almost there.
Yeah,
almost, Stephen.
I've seen it, but hey, I appreciate it.
Well, what were you saying? I'm sorry, we interrupted you.
Well, my mom's ex-husband, who I refer to as my stepfather, he's my children's godfather, and God bless the man, because when my air conditioning and stuff when all that fire stuff went down, if he hadn't been there, we wouldn't have nothing. But that being said, he is the most intelligent man that I know, and I mean that quite literally, because he knew what pariah was, and he knew how to spell it. And he always knows everything, which is surprising, because he actually he applied for the CIA, and he and one other gentleman made it to the end, but because he was like 40 when he did this, they decided to go with the younger man. That being said, that tells you he was a highly intelligent individual. He's just a little antisocial, but beyond that, I love him. I just don't like his jokes.
I just got a word. A stunning victory. Eric Cantor of Virginia lost his GOP primary. He lost for Virginia, so he's no longer winning.
Wow. But
and he lost badly too.
We were talking earlier about the elections and things like that. I believe, and this is just my opinion, of course, that they made it easier for certain people to win by picking someone who is so totally to the right of everything that's good and right in the world.
But Cantor was like always winning, this, that, and the other. I personally can't stand the man. I tried to get him on this show, just several times.
That's my point. I mean, he has stood up for some things that some people are like, really, dude? You're really going to stand up for that? I mean, some of his things are just to the extreme where other people are not so bad. So you tend to pick the person that's not so bad over the person that's extreme. So
exactly.
That's what's going on with elections nowadays, it seems. But okay. What was your second word, sir?
That's no problem. The second, I appreciate it, because you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Avarice.
Now, I heard the word, and I heard it before you redid it. And for the life of me, I cannot. I've heard the word, and I know the word, but I can't place it.
Avarice. Ms. Blessed?
The mountain?
No.
Mount Everest? Is that the same word? Avarice.
Phonetically, avarice, but that's not how you spell it.
Averisk?
No. Avarice. Avarice. As I say, it's just AVA rice, but it's not pronounced of that way. Sincere? What's the definition?
Extreme greed?
No. Hold on. What the heck? You cheating again?
That's what Google is for, right?
Yeah, click off. You got clicked off. You know what?
When did I have time to click off?
He got that one.
That's what intelligent people do. If we don't know, we look it up.
Exactly.
Look, I be doing that all the time. Like somebody be telling me something, and I'm like, look, I don't think that person's right. But you
Look
know,
it up.
I ain't gonna sit here and tell you you're wrong until I know you're wrong.
Well,
And Michelle, I want you to pay attention to that. I got a word right. And
no,
did
he
something.
cheated.
I
He
turned
cheated.
it immediately to him so he could see that I didn't have time to
He
touch
exited
it.
out.
And then he
Let me get to that computer before you touch another button.
He exited out. He exited out.
Exactly.
Don't hate.
Man, could you use it in a sentence, madame?
I missed the definitions, so I couldn't use it.
Insatiable greed for riches.
My husband was avarice about his gun collection.
Use it as a verb. It's a noun. Sorry.
I used it as a verb
Mm-hmm.
instead of a noun.
Mm-hmm.
Would you reverse that? So my husband's gun collection made him avarice, or
She turned away and bent over the tea chest again, certain cleanly stabbed by avarice, like a peach with a silver knife.
What? Can you get your hand off and speak correctly, please?
I can't help it. My voice is deep. Thank
No,
you.
it's not the voice being deep. It's your mouth being pulled to the side by your hand.
That's right. Pull
And
it all the way to the
I will
side.
say it again. She turned away and bent over the tea chest again, cleanly stabbed by avarice, like a peach with a silver knife.
I still didn't get that, but that's all right.
I don't understand the sentence, but okay.
I don't know what a peach has to do with greed, but you know.
No, like a peach to a silver knife. Excuse me. She took the tea chest, took it and bent it over, cleaning it because she loves how rich it was. The greed.
All right. We ain't messing
Yeah,
with
that's not.
Okay. Now I did get one little bit of a medium hard word. Okay, just to make you happy.
Extrapolate.
It's actually pretty easy.
Extrapolate.
It means to pull something from something else.
Yes, there you go. Conjecture. Congratulations, you did a very good job.
It's about time. I couldn't get any of those other words.
Okay, so it is a verb. So first off, could you spell it, madame?
No, I told you I can't spell.
Just try one. Extrapolate. Don't be listening to him. And turn the
X STRAPALITE.
No, that's extrapolate. That's how you spell it.
She didn't ask you for that. EXTRAPOLATE.
Didn't I tell the man I can't spell?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Good job.
It was close though.
It's very close. It's very close. I'm just saying. Now, could you use it in a sentence?
You make orange juice by extrapolating it from the orange. Does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you're using a word of extraction. Remember, we're saying conjunction to infer something. So it's not you're picking extraction.
Now, before we get to the end of the show, we should let people know that I'm putting the video out, and it
Okay.
has the video. Hopefully, will be also it'll be on If Then, because as I expressed to some of the people here, I was having a day where I was feeling sorry for myself since I don't have any money and my husband isn't paying his support and he committed tax fraud, so I don't get my disability and all of that. And as I was feeling sorry for myself and driving to Patient First, I thought to myself, if I had been able to leave my husband any other way, if I hadn't got in the car accident and I had kept my recording contract, if when I went out to meet Howard Stern, things had worked out, if any number of situations had occurred, then the reality is we would have never known what my husband was doing. We would have never known what he was facilitating, and he would have been able to continue to commit these crimes and facilitate weapons for crimes of hate. That being said, because so many people don't know what the Aryan Brotherhood is, don't understand what white supremacy means, in this video there is racist content for the purpose of helping people to understand how dangerous they are and their ideas are, because 80% of the people don't know. The video will be posted on YouTube under Maria Michelle, and it's MERIA Michelle, MEICHELLE. It'll also be on my website, kissmaria.com, and with that will be a petition. Sign the petition. It'll be on change.org, and the petition is to make sure that in all the states that my husband's illegal guns cross lines, that those states hold him accountable for the felony charge. That felony charge carries a mandatory sentence of 5 years if there's more than one gun involved. So it's very important that we as a community get involved and send a message to this national hate group and to these people that are undermining the very culture of America, that it will not be tolerated, that we're not going to stand idly by and allow them to facilitate these crimes, that they will be held accountable with the heaviest hand possible. So sign the petition. And once we know which states those guns cross lines, we will send that to the attorney generals of those states and expect that those attorney generals will follow through with charging him. Also, there will be a link for donations because, as has already been expressed, my husband isn't providing for us, and there are lots of legal fees in this kind of situation because my husband and his brother, and yes, his brother is involved in this, he's also a racist, have lots of money. They have 2 attorneys. They have Ed Barnes and Mr. Inglesby, and I don't think those people are necessarily racist, but they're good attorneys because they're worth good money. And I have a good attorney, but I have spent all of my money with the false accusations that my husband has made against me. And you get what you pay for. My attorney's a good person, but he's not going to work as hard on my case as he is on someone else's when he gets paid $3.50 an hour.
See, and then the thing about all that is, I understand there's the legal aspect, but I take issue, and I won't tell you why. Because there's some things you just can't do. You just can't do. And even though, he has all these different things and stuff like that, I personally, as a lawyer, I couldn't take a case like that. And I think, because all you do is breathing hate, that's saying, if you got money, I'll take anything.
Well, part of the unfortunate thing is my husband is a sociopath, and as a sociopath, he's a very good liar. And I can assure you that his attorneys only know what he wants them to know. Now, at some point, now that they've already got a contract with him, now that they've already accepted the money, the truth will come out. But if you don't sign the petition and you don't get involved, no, it won't, because they're going to break a deal with him. They're going to try to put a gag order on me on Friday to keep me from talking about this, to keep people from being aware, so that they can let this lifetime criminal walk away from what he did to get somebody else.
Well, young lady, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and everybody out here listening and future listeners and everybody else. From the bottom of our hearts, our prayers, hearts, minds, souls is with you in this situation.
Thank you.
And you will it's not you will, you have overcome regardless. Don't let nobody else tell you different. And I personally thank you for coming here and being honest and telling your story, because not many women have the cajones to sit here.
Cojones is the Spanish word. Cojones.
I was trying.
I'm so glad I'm here tonight.
I wasn't trying.
You're trying to be special again, aren't you?
I like the word cajones. I don't like cojones because it's kind of.
What's wrong with cojones?
Your husband's not from New Jersey, by the way, is he?
Nah, he's from here.
Okay, I'm just wanted to. That was his question. Nay, but we appreciate. Say the website one more time for our listeners.
My website is KissMaria, spelled MERIA.com, and the nonprofit website is the letter R, people, the number 4, people.org.
And they can find the link to offer donations to both those sites.
There's currently not a donation thing set up on the nonprofit website, but since you've mentioned it, I'll work on that. But you can make donations on Kiss Maria to help fight this cause.
Okay, I appreciate.
MERIA, correct?
Yes, MERIA.
Mr. Sincere, anything you want to leave off with us?
I have negative feelings about this situation, so I don't want to.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Right
no,
because I have to go home.
Okay. And Miss Bless, do you mind going down
all night?
Do you mind going down a rundown of all our shows?
Of all of your shows?
All the shows of Legacy Internet Radio.
Let's see. Monday nights we have Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus P and Miss S.Y. Butler.
Marcus P?
Marcus J.
Wait till I call him tonight. I'm going to tell him what you said.
He's probably listening anyway. I'm sorry, Marcus J. You know I love you. Anyway, S.Y. Butler and any special guests that come through. Sometimes I come through myself. Tuesday nights Enliven Radio with Mr. LP and I was about to call you government name, Mr. Sincere, and speaking about We Tell the Truth, right? That's what that's called.
Yes.
Wednesday night is comedianess Lissa P and Jay Grizzy on the Green Room 2.0.
Yeah, the version 2.
I'm doing good, okay. Mm-hmm. Thursday nights, All Throttle Radio with the Riders talking about biker life. Yes. Mm-hmm. Friday nights.
It's on the hiatus, but we're playing a bunch of different shows on Fridays.
It's usually clutch, but we're playing whatever, the best of the best, the best shows.
Which is me.
Anyway, Saturday is the P Show, correct? Mm-hmm. And then music during the day.
What's the time?
I don't know the times.
See, Marcus, we're going to have a talk.
I got it this far, and I don't even have the paper in front of me.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it's the P Show, and then what's after the P Show?
Did they just play that?
Uh-huh.
And then DJ Renee Melendez spins all the hot songs on her mix. Yeah, Deep House Sessions. See, I'm trying.
Okay, and you did a very good job. And before that is the throwback. From 5 to 7, and Deep House Sessions from 7 to 9.
Well, next time, can you give me the sheet of paper so I can read it correctly?
You've been around here just as long as I have. I thought you knew, girl.
I'm not a host.
You're not? Okay.
No.
All right.
I just correct them. I would like to thank you for coming by. I enjoy hearing your story, as heartbreaking and as touching, and all the pain that you've been through. It has been a lesson to me. I hope that you continue to keep the strength and be patient with what's going to happen. May not happen as quickly, and this, it's not happening as quickly as you want it to, but anything worth the end of it being great is the patience and getting through the storm. The beauty and what happens at the end, it's going to be worth it.
Well, and that's the truth. And, unfortunately, our culture is not set up for reading, and I've been blogging. And, I've spent about 3 weeks producing this video because you're trying to make it so it's not so long that people don't care, that it's interesting enough that they'll watch, and impassioned enough, invokes enough anger and sorrow and all of these things that, because at the end it was like, what's America's if then story, and I show each of my children and myself as rest in peace. If America chooses not to get involved, we're at risk, and so are all the other people that would be victims of the crimes that he's perpetuating.
I thank you so very much, and it's true. And I want to thank everybody that's listening to LegacyInternetRadio.com. I also want to thank Ms. Michelle K. Robinson, Mr. Cutting Edge, and everybody else that's out there listening. We're going to be out here next week, and also check us out on our YouTube page, Enliven Radio. Also our Facebook page, facebook.com/Enliven Radio. That is ENLIVEN Radio, RADIO. Also, you can hit us up on our email. Is that if you like me, like Miss Bless, like Mr. Sincere, want to hear more from Miss Maria Michelle, all what you like, just let us know. That email is enlivenradio@gmail.com, and also check out our Facebook page of Sykes Talent Group. We have lovely ladies and the people of great talent doing wonderful and great things. So check us out, and if you need anything, we'll take care of you. Have a blessed one, behave yourself, and good night.